So my parents are pushing me to relocate, but they still want my financial support. As a 26-year-old guy, I've been helping them out with money since I was 18. It wasn't exactly my idea, more like they made it crystal clear that it was my responsibility. After my dad got let go from his job and decided early retirement was his thing. Yesterday, they hit me with a bombshell at our usual family dinner, which, by the way, I pay for. While they're constantly griping about everything, Mom and Dad want me to move clear across the country for a job that would double my salary. Sounds awesome, right? Except there's a catch. They fully expect me to keep covering their mortgage bills and, well, their entire lifestyle while I'm gone. Perfect, Mom said, eyes glued to her phone. You'll make more money for us, and we won't have to put up with you bringing girls over or using your car. When I brought up that I might need that extra cash for, living in a pricey new city, Dad just slammed his hand down on the table. After everything we've done for you, this is how you treat us? You're being selfish. For some background, my folks haven't worked in 8 years. They live in the house I bought that's in their name's tax reasons, I guess, and drive the car I pay for. They've never once expressed any gratitude for any of it. The worst part? When I hinted that I might not take the job, my mom just stared right at me and said, "You don't have a choice. We already accepted it for you. You leave next month. Don't worry about us. Just make sure the money keeps coming." I just smiled and nodded. They have absolutely no clue what I'm up to. I'll let everyone know when things start rolling. A lot of you are asking why I'd ever back them up. It's a long, messed up story. Years of feeling guilty, being manipulated, and the fact that they talked me into putting almost everything in their names when I was just 18 to boost their credit, man. I know it sounds crazy now. Okay, update number 1. Thanks for all the support and advice, guys. I didn't expect this kind of reaction, so I've been quietly working behind the scenes this past week. My folks think I'm being a great son, getting ready for the move, but they're way off. First, let me clear up some things you guys brought up. Yeah, I know I was a total pushover growing up. No, wasn't exactly in my vocabulary around my parents. Every time I tried to set limits, they'd start with the whole, "we sacrificed everything for you" thing. Their go-to guilt trip was always how they could have traveled the world if they hadn't had me. And somehow, I'm supposed to be paying for their dream vacations I supposedly stopped. Then, 3 years back, they convinced me to buy them a house because their apartment was stressing them out. I was 23, making pretty good money, and they swore it was an investment. The mortgage is in their names, but I pay it. Their credit was terrible. Same with the car, it's in their name, but guess who's paying for it? Things have gotten even worse since my last post. Mom accidentally opened my mail from my new job and saw my starting salary. Okay, so they figured out what I'm going to be making and completely changed how much I owe them. An extra $1,500 a month because I won't be using any of their stuff anymore. Dad even had the nerve to send me links to these not-so-bad-priced condos in my new city so I could save money for what they want. Seriously, these places are basically tiny boxes with bathrooms. Yesterday, I caught Mom going through my banking app on my phone while I was in the shower. When I asked her about it, she said, "I'm just checking to see if you're hiding money from the family." The family, right? Here, what's been going on. I officially accepted the job offer, which, by the way, is a really awesome gig. I opened a new bank account at a different bank. Now I'm putting all my direct deposits there. I also met with a lawyer. More on that later. I found an apartment in the city that I can actually afford and still manage to save some cash. That's been the best part. My parents have started telling everyone how supportive they are of my career move. Like, they're taking all the credit. My mom's Facebook is full of "so proud of my son" posts, conveniently leaving out the part where they're treating me like I'm invisible. My uncle called yesterday to congratulate me, and when I mentioned the money stuff, he got really quiet and said, "Your parents told everyone they're letting you use their car to move as a gift." Their car that I pay for. Things are moving forward. The new job starts in 3 weeks. My folks, they think everything is going exactly how they planned, but tomorrow, that's when things really change. I'll let you know what happens soon. Okay, so, update number 2. It's been a crazy few days, and I'm writing this from my new place in my new city. Yep, I moved early. That was always the plan, you know? After my last post, I just went for it. Here's how everything unfolded. First, the boring stuff, the legal stuff. The lawyer confirmed what a lot of you all were saying, since the house, the car, everything's in their names. And all those gifts I've been making, no formal agreement. Legally, I can just stop. It feels wrong, after all these years of being trained, but it's completely above board. The day after I posted last time, my parents had my aunts and uncles over for a going-away dinner, which of course, I paid for and cooked. During the whole dinner, they were bragging about how they always pushed me to succeed and how they were making all these sacrifices by letting their only son move away. My aunt asked them how they were going to manage without me, and my mom, deadpan, said, "We've prepared him for the world." And then she added, "Now, the world gets to enjoy the fruits of our labor and send some fruit back our way." Everyone laughed. Then my dad announced they were remodeling their kitchen with the extra cash coming in from my new job. My mom even showed everyone a $15,000 renovation plan on her iPad, money I didn't even know I was supposed to be providing. That night, after everyone left, they sat me down for the talk. My dad had made an actual spreadsheet of all my new financial responsibilities. Our mortgage cost us $2,400 each month, and then there were the $850 car payments. Utilities and stuff ran about $600, plus another $1,200 monthly for mom and dad's allowance. My phone bill was $200, and $1,100 went towards fixing up the kitchen. All told, that came to $6,300 every month. My new paycheck would be roughly $7,200. They really thought I could survive on the $850 that was left over each month, and in a really expensive city, too. When I softly asked how I was supposed to swing it, Mom just shrugged and said, and I remember her exact words, "That's not our problem. Being an adult means making sacrifices. We sacrificed for you, now you sacrifice for us." Dad chimed in, suggesting, "Maybe you could get a weekend job. That's what a good son would do." I just nodded and thanked them for the advice. They looked so pleased with themselves. It took all my willpower not to blow up right then and there. The very next day, while they were enjoying their weekly spa day, which, by the way, I paid for, I got to work on phase 2. I packed up all the important stuff and put it in my car, which they didn't even know was actually mine. I called the moving company I'd secretly hired and had them move the rest of my things to a storage unit. I left an envelope on the kitchen table. I hit the road to my new city 2 weeks earlier than planned. What was in that envelope? A letter explaining that I was cutting them off financially, and a prepaid package so there wouldn't be any issues. I had already covered their expenses for the rest of the month. I also included a printout of job postings in their area. And finally, copies of my therapy bills from the past year, which detailed the emotional toll their actions had taken. So, I showed them this spreadsheet. It adds up to over $217,000 I'd given them in 8 years. Then, I tossed in a brochure on reverse mortgages, along with enough cash for their mortgage and bills for a month. A little something to tide them over, you know. After that, I blocked their numbers and just left. It's been 3 days since I hightailed it out of there. My cousin says they flipped out when they found the envelope. They've been ringing up everyone in the family, begging for my address and hitting them up for emergency cash. Apparently, they even told my uncle I was having a total meltdown and needed rescuing. My aunt, mom, and sister finally told them, "Hey, maybe it's time you guys got jobs instead of living off your kids' money." Mom hung up on her. The best part, they can't even chase after me. No money for a plane ticket and the car? Yeah, I left that at my cousin's with the title signed over to him. He's always needed a decent car for work, so that worked out perfect. My new place is tiny, but it's all mine, and my new job, amazing. For the first time ever, my money is actually my money. Honestly, I'm still battling a ton of guilt and second-guessing myself. 8 years of, being programmed to give everything away doesn't just vanish overnight. But it's getting a little easier each day. It's been 2 months now since I moved and cut them off, and I just wanted to give everyone a quick update. First off, thanks for all the kind messages. They really meant a lot. They were a huge help, especially when the guilt got really bad. The fallout has been exactly what I figured and also totally unexpected. Let me tell you what's been going on. After I left, my parents went through what my cousin called the 5 stages of them: entitlement, denial, then anger, and even more anger, then major anger, and finally, a frantic scramble. The first week, they told everyone I was having a mental breakdown and needed an intervention. They called my new job trying to get my address. Luckily, HR put a stop to that right away. They even filed a missing person report, which the police tossed out pretty fast when they found out I moved on my own and was talking to other relatives regularly. Week 2, when they realized I was really serious about not talking to them, the anger started. They left hundreds of voicemails on my cousin's phone for me, full of guilt trips like, "We're going to be homeless because of you," and outright threats, such as, "You'll regret ditching your family." My mom's social media went from proud parent posts to vague stuff about how painful, ungrateful kids are. Week 3, things got real when the mortgage company sent their first late notice. According to my aunt, that's when my dad finally had to admit the truth. I wasn't coming back and the money flow was over. He even went on a job interview, but walked out when they offered him some measly entry-level pay. Week 4, they started selling stuff. So, yeah, it was a crazy mess. They'd been pushing me to buy them all sorts of expensive stuff for years: designer bags, fancy electronics, even golf clubs. Luxury this, luxury that. It got so bad, my mom had to drop her country club membership and that spa thing she loved. My dad had to give up his poker nights. They tried everything to get to me, man. They had my relatives calling with fake emergencies, total drama. They even showed up at my cousin's place at midnight, demanding their car back. My mom even called my old landlord, crying about me being mentally ill. Seriously. They even emailed my new boss, saying I was stealing from them. Nothing worked, though. The family who still talks to me, they totally saw through it all. They've actually been amazing, really supportive. My uncle even called to apologize for not seeing what was going on sooner. Then, last week, I got this certified letter. The first time they'd actually contacted me directly. I figured it would be more guilt-tripping and manipulation, but it was way worse and better, weirdly. It was basically a bill for everything they claimed I owed them. $216,000 for room and board from the time I was born until I turned 18. $242,000 for college, which I paid for myself, by the way. $377,000 for career guidance and networking and emotional support. $15,000 on top of that, a grand total of over $340,000 plus interest. The letter ended with, "We expect payment plans to begin immediately. We've been more than patient." I started laughing so hard I cried, then I cried so hard I laughed again. It was insane. It was a desperate move, what my therapist called an extinction burst, trying to claw back control. I didn't say anything, but I did forward it to my lawyer. He shot off a very official letter telling them to back off unless they were ready to talk about their legal duty to pay me back the $217,000 I'd handed over since I turned 18, which, by the way, was all documented. Since then, complete silence. Regarding my parents, well, they've been forced to really scale back. Their house is up for sale, a short sale at that. Dad finally got a job at a hardware store and mom's a part-time receptionist now. The word is, they're telling everyone they're simplifying to focus on what matters. But me, I'm doing great. My new job is tough, but I love it. I've made real friends and they just want to hang out. I've started dating someone who actually insists on splitting the bill, which is still a little strange, but good. The biggest thing, I'm actually saving money for the future. I check my bank account now, and I don't feel that instant wave of panic. Money's staying in there, growing a little bit each month. I bought myself a new pair of shoes last week. Nothing crazy, just shoes. And I didn't have to stop and calculate how many of my parents' bills I could cover with that money. That small freedom felt bigger than moving across the country. So yeah, that's it. Sometimes the best payback isn't anything flashy. It's all about living your best life and letting things play out naturally, you know? My folks, they spent 8 whole years drilling into me that my only purpose was to cater to them. But it didn't take long, barely 8 weeks, before life showed them a thing or two.